Hello, I'm Gordon.D.Webster, former journalist and railway history author, and you may have seen me on the BBC Scotland programme Inside Central Station. Welcome to West Highland Line Walks. Today I'm taking a walk from Arrochar and Tarbert Station on the West Highland Line to Gare Loch Station, part of the Three Lochs Way. The challenge for today was to go from station to station on the West Highland Line by rail and walk back between the same stations on foot, which is what I'm doing. I got the train, the afternoon combined northbound 7-car train from Glasgow Queen Street to Mallaig and Oban from Gare Loch, and I got off Arrochar and Tarbert. So I'm walking back to Gare Loch where I've left the car. Just to rewind back for 20 minutes or so, the day's not got off to a good start, or the walk's not got off to a good start, because I've just left Arrochar and Tarbert Station. I've crossed the road to do the start of the trail, which is really the other side of the valley, and there's a big sign up there, as you'll see here, saying this section of the path is actually closed. So I'm now having to take a detour, and I'm just walking along Church Road, which connects the villages of Tarbert and Arrochar. Now you'll see in one of the shots there that the valley which lies between Arrochar and Tarbert villages is where the Arrochar and Tarbert station sits. You cross the road and go to the other side. That's where you would normally start the trail, which is really taking you from the Loch Lomond end down to Loch Long. So that's closed. I was in two minds whether to actually just open the gate and continue, because you'll see there it actually says these works were down to be completed in early April, and I sense that they actually have been completed. Someone's just not taking the signs down. It's not the end of the world though. All I'm going to do is I'm going to walk this minor village road which connects Tarbert to Arrochar past the fire station. That will take me up to the Arrochar church, where I'll just need to walk up quite a steep hill. I really didn't want to do that because I've done it a few times, that particular bit of the walk, but I'll just take up the path from there. It means I'm only really missing, say, half a mile of the walk, 3/4 of a mile. That other bit of the walk, I'll just show you some brief highlights of that when I walked it a couple of times in the past. You don't get great views of the railway line with all the vegetation. It blocks most of the views, but just as I was ambling along the road here, I saw the afternoon southbound combined train from Mallaig and Oban was leaving. Not really a great view with all the trees. Getting towards the top of the hill from Arrochar Church, this is where you pass under the West Highland Line. Some shots here from the out of bounds section of the path, which I did in the last few years with the family dog Rana, my good pal, who sadly crossed the Rainbow Bridge in 2023. Very sadly missed. She loved it up here. I'm now up the hill past the curtailed section of path, and having viewed it at both ends, it's not really cordoned off. There's a gate at one end. I genuinely believe the path is perfectly well open, and I probably could have walked along. Someone has simply not bothered to take away or update the signage which said work done in early April. Boy oh boy, it's a hot one today, I'm telling you. About 23 or 24 degrees, and hotter today in Glasgow than London, I checked earlier. A bigger question is it hotter in the West Highlands than it is in London? I might not have actually made this very clear on my earlier preamble of the video, but I'm just doing part of the Three Lochs Way today. I actually found out today it doesn't just go from Gare Loch Head to Arrochar and Tarbert like I thought it did, connecting the Gare Loch, Loch Long and Loch Lomond, but it does in fact start and end at either end of Balloch or Inveruglas on the edge of Loch Lomond. But anyway, today I'm doing really the section that follows the railway line anyway, and yeah, you'll see some even better views to the south of Loch Long starting to open up from this point. Kind of parallel with where the A83 road goes up the hill into Glen past Ardgarten. Railways is of course the bread and butter of this YouTube channel, and if you click the link you can watch my video of 2 parts, the history of the West Highland Line documentary. Just a mile or two to the south of Arrochar at Morlagan alongside Loch Long, this was an area on the West Highland Line several years ago. There was significant tree removal opening up a stunning view of Loch Long, and if you're prepared to scramble out onto the hillock just to the east of the line, you can get a wonderful view of trains heading north, and there's also a pretty good view of southbound trains also if you get to the right bit. People do often say that Loch Long resembles one of the Norwegian fjords, and I can't say I disagree with that. We really are blessed to have this sort of scenery on our doorstep in the west of Scotland. The West Highland Line's one daily freight train, the North Blythe to Fort William alumina tanks, is running today, and it's a Saturday, but I very much doubt I'm going to get a shot of it, just such as the heavy vegetation and tree growth in the Gare Loch Head to Arrochar section. I need to time it to do the walk properly, and it's unlikely I'm going to be able to get a shot of it in a decent location, but we'll wait and see. The Three Lochs Way really is one of these walks where just when you think you've seen the best view, you keep going and you keep going and you get even better views. This is an even higher elevation above Loch Long. I'm thinking maybe this is the summit of this stretch of the walk, but it might not be actually. I've not studied it in enough detail. You also get another great distant view of the West Highland Line climbing up the hill. Sadly, more evidence of the very dry weather. This kind of stream would normally be foaming with a lot of rainfall in the area if the weather was fairly normal. Would very much appreciate if you can please like, subscribe and comment on my videos, and if you want to hear about the latest videos on railways in the west of Scotland or West Highland Line walks, click the bell notification symbol to get regular updates. Now on with the walk. Glen Douglas, the well-known Ministry of Defence installation up in the hills, a very remote location just off the path. You can also see the railway from the spur which runs in there, which is still served by the West Highland Line. We're on the verges of high security MOD land here, hence the cage over the edge of this overbridge where you can see the West Highland Line. The West Highland Line climbs up to Glen Douglas summit, one of the 3 summits on the line between Glasgow and Fort William, where there is a remote passing loop. This sign near Glen Douglas pointing towards Gare Loch Head, it's pretty unclear. I don't want to accidentally step into MOD land, so I'm going to assume that I go to the right here. Problem solved. I've now been able to work out the right way to go. You do simply follow the sign there at Glen Douglas. However, it isn't very clear because that kind of junction, it looks as if you follow the direction of the sign, it looks potentially like MOD land, whereas slightly to the right is a public road which goes down the hill. So without any signs of, actual maps of the route, it's not very clear at all, but it seems we just follow the forestry path in towards Glen Douglas. Somehow, despite getting lost, by the sheer grace of God, I happened to get to the passing loop at Glen Douglas around the time that the Alumina train was due. So I was able to go down and get this shot of the Class 66 heading the tanker wagons. Now these carry alumina, which is a powdered material used to make aluminium. Not only is this a rare gap between all the fir trees, but this was also at the end of a short track which seemed to be carrying a stream of water down the hill on this very dry day where there wasn't a lot of water, and as a result this was the local midge hangout, it seemed. So that 10 minutes waiting for the train was of course a lot of fun. The forestry path I'm now following is taking me through Glen Coolinoch. I think I've pronounced that right, I hope I have. Another beautiful part of Scotland. The fir trees have largely dispersed around the middle of this valley. We are pretty close to the Highland boundary fault, which separates the Scottish Highlands from the Scottish Lowlands. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm in the Lowlands or the Highlands here. A short distance further on and I have ended up completely lost. Ahead there is a forestry track which after about 15 minutes of walking leads to a completely dead end. To the right there, which is also looking south, there's another path which you can actually see in the camera leads to a dead end. There are no signposts or anything, there hasn't been a signpost for the last mile or two, so I'm just going to have to retrace my steps back. I've spent a good 20 minutes there retracing my steps. I think I'm on the right lines now. It looks to me as though this is the junction on the path where I should be taking a right up the hill, but you'll see here absolute zero signposts, maps or anything. There's no guidance at all. I'd get that this part appears to be forestry tracks, but you would think there would be something to at least tell you the right turn off in the path. Another dead end. Where I go from here, I've no idea. Right, I've now doubled back again, almost as far as Glen Douglas, and there's another path which goes off to the right. Again, no signposts, absolutely nothing. I can only assume this must be the path, which should take me further down towards Loch Long and Glenmalin. And here's confirmation. I've just come off the main path to go up to the right. Buried in the fir trees, there is a sign and it's got a kind of half fallen off, ruined Three Lochs Way symbol. So it looks like this is the path after all, but how would you know that? It's completely hidden away from the main path. But there we go, onward. I should point out, I think the Three Lochs Way is designed for people to do it in a northerly direction. I've obviously doing it in the opposite direction, so the signs are probably there to reflect that. Well, at least I know for next time. I was starting to wish I'd taken the train. Just about to pass under the West Highland Line again. It can be seen today just how dried out a lot of the streams and burns are due to this long period of exceptionally hot weather. And it's now into the evening, well into the evening. I once again took a wrong turn. I was actually distracted by the Strava walking app on my phone not working properly, that I completely missed the fork in the path. I saw the fork, but I did not notice it had the Three Lochs Way symbol on it, and I missed it, and that sent me back another 30 to 40 minutes. Having just gone under the West Highland Railway, we're now just heading along another forestry track. It is in the direction of Glenfruin. Finnart oil terminal in Loch Long now unfortunately seems to be no longer in use following the closure of Grangemouth as an oil refinery. And you can also see on the far left there the entrance to Loch Goil just off Loch Long. And you can also just make out the West Highland Line. A fork in the path once again, but once again no signposts telling you what way to go. If someone was to tell me I'm still alive, I would not believe them. It's after 9 o'clock now. I think I'm getting towards the final half a mile or so down the hill to Gare Loch, and yeah, it's taken a lot longer than I thought. My legs are absolutely aching. If you were to look at me now compared to the start of this video, you'll notice I'm like this beaten man. But 11 miles I've walked, and I did grossly underestimate it. However, the only real planning I did was simply looking at Google Maps, and I would not recommend that to anyone because in the 11 miles it estimated 4 hours of walking. That was way more than 4 hours, and even if I hadn't made a couple of wrong turns, done a couple of silly detours which maybe lost me an hour to an hour and a half, plus all the stopping for filming which added a little bit of extra time. So yeah, it's been quite a walk today, not for the faint-hearted. Just to finish off, we have a lovely shot of Faslane Naval Base on the Gare Loch. So I'm just going to walk down the hill here. It'll take me into the woods just above Gare Loch. This is really the link path on the Three Lochs Way, which links Gare Loch to the main path. Thank you once again for watching my latest video. There'll be plenty more to come in this channel. Anyone who is able to like or comment or subscribe, it's always appreciated. The end of another great day out in the West Highlands.